Everybody's searching for a hero. People need someone to look up to. I never found anyone to fulfill my needs. A lonely place to be, so I learn to depend on me. I decided long ago never to walk in anyone's shadow. If I fail, if I succeed, at least I live as I believe. No matter what they take from me, Good evening. Each one of us was an actor learning the play. Growing and struggling, we conquered each day. Learning our lines, we practiced so hard, rehearsing the show in which each of us starred. Every person we met became part of the cast, somehow touching us with a memory that'll last. Our best friends played the supporting roles, encouraging us on as we strive towards our goals. Crying and laughing, we shared our dreams on the stage, turning the script from page to page. Each year we became better at playing our part. We've perfected the emotions, the ones from the heart. Now our high school days of practice are all gone, but the show called life must continue on. No longer rehearsal filled with directors, we'll be in control as our own protectors. So now the curtains go up and house lights dim. The show begins today, but in the dark echoes a voice. Let them lead the way.
class was given a project to do earlier this year. The project was called Senior Predictions. We were asked to reflect on what we might be doing 10 years after leaving Lake Washington High School. Here are some of the responses. Living life in the fast lane somewhere in Europe. Working as editor of the New York Times. Appearing on the Johnny Carson Show. Doing the same thing I'm doing now, nothing. Playing lead guitar in front of 50,000 screaming fans. Getting married and living in a little chateau in Switzerland. Working 3 hours a day and making over $50,000. Owning a big house, an offshore racer, and a swimming pool full of whipped cream. We generated many plans, some crazy, others impossible, a few worthwhile. The interesting thing about our responses is that although no two were the same, each one focused on the same question: what do I want to do with my life? We asked ourselves that question lightly when we wrote up our senior predictions, sitting in the lunchroom that was all too familiar and secure. Now, leaving that security, the question seems more serious. What are we going to do? The question certainly deserves consideration, yet there is another important question that should not be overlooked, and it is to that question that I would direct our attention. In the midst of all our plans for what we will do in the future, I suggest that we also think of what we want to be. Doing versus being. The difference is clear to those who look carefully. Doing is connected with tangible things, careers, salaries, trophies, and accomplishments. Being has more to do with intangibles. It goes beneath the surface, touching on our character. In 10 years, we will not only be doing certain things, we will be certain types of people. Have we stopped to reflect at all on who we want to be? In the years to come, I hope we will be people who can take risks. President Theodore Roosevelt once said, "Far better it is to dare mighty things, to win glorious triumphs, even though checkered by failure, than to and dreams are essential, maybe not for our pocketbooks, but simply for ourselves as human beings. Even Albert Einstein, who worked day in and day out with practical theories and formulas, once said, "Imagination is more important than knowledge." Life becomes mechanical without dreams. To be living, thinking, feeling human beings, we must be able to create and to hang on to our ideas. We can't measure it, but our ability to dream is worth developing in ourselves just the same. Much lies ahead of us that we may do, but much lies ahead of us that we may be as well. 10 years from now, we may take down our book of senior predictions from the shelf, wipe away the dust from the cover, and evaluate where we are compared to where we thought we'd be. Without the envisioned sports car, our job, or 6-digit salary, many will say they haven't succeeded. But if we've taken steps in each direction, doing and being, then we can honestly say that we have succeeded after all.
The memories that will remain with us after we graduate will be of those special times spent with people who have given us support, love, strength, and encouragement right when we needed it. Although our 3 high school years are some of the best years of our lives so far, They are also, as we have learned, some of the hardest and most trying. In those hard times, all of us have needed someone to look to for help and to talk to for advice. When we've been troubled or sad or lonely, the people who have brought us back up are the ones who we will always remember. They have accepted us just the way we are. They have convinced us that we could make it through just because we're worth it. They are the ones who can accept that we've done our best, even if we didn't always come out on top. The same people let us be independent in our decisions and choices when we needed to be, encouraging us to grow and to use our own minds. These people are our closest and our best friends, because they always seem to know what we need and when we need it. Whether it be an encouraging smile, a few words, or a long talk, these people have given us something very valuable which we'll never forget. Our families, helping out when problems with school or friends came up, and our friends, lending an ear and a heart when family troubles came up. Those who have shared with us, our friends, our families, and our teachers, have helped and supported us the most, because everybody needs help sometimes. When the homework seemed endless and the activities were dragging us down to exhaustion, the reason we were able to pick ourselves up and accomplish something was because of the people who took time out to care, the people who made us think for ourselves, the people who gave whatever they had to make us feel better. Those who have been with us when we were down and out have also been with us at our best and our happiest times. And the best thing about it is that they did it not because they had to, but because they wanted to. Now we are independent. Most of us will be leaving home for college or getting jobs. Although we'll be on our own, we'll never be alone, because the people who have shared our dreams and our sorrows will always be a part of us. We'll make new friends, but we won't be replacing the old. We'll keep the old and the new friends, because they are also special to us. Before we go, we would like to thank all our friends and all of you for having faith in our abilities, because we wouldn't have made it without you. Thank you.
Skybird, make yourself, and every heart will know what I say. And make the song be heard. Songbird, play your tune, for none may sing it just as well. And head for the farthest shore. Lost on a painted sky, where the clouds are hung for the poet's eye. You may find him, if you may find him, on a distant shore, by the wings of dreams, through an open door, you may know there's a bird that opens over the trees with a silent as a song says, a silent
It's my great pleasure this evening to introduce you to a number of very special, capable young people that we're pleased to see be successful in our school. And while we're not pleased to see them graduate this year, we think they're ready and we're anxious for them to move on. If you would take the program, there are some students in your program that I would like to call special attention to. Over here in the area where it shows the class of 86 and 87. I guess as is always the case, we sometimes miss students as we go through. You'll notice as you look through there are asterisks by students' names. Those are members of the National Honor Society. That means that they hold a certain grade point average and are selected or elected to become a member of the society. It also means they're wearing gold tassels this evening. There are two students for various reasons that should have an asterisk by their name that do not. One is Kathleen Lucard, and also one is Vika Wikrama.
To recognize those two students just a second, if those two girls would stand up, I'd like you to give them a special round of applause since we forgot to star their name. Then if all those students who are members of the National Honor Society, if they can hear me back there, all of those with the gold tassels or honor cords on, if they would stand, I'd ask you to congratulate them with me, members of the National Honor Society. Now, if you look on the inside of the first page, there's another honor that we give at Lake Washington High School. It's called Graduating with Honors in a particular department. As you read down there with me, you'll notice there are students who are graduating with honors in art, business ed, distributive ed, English, and on down the line. And what that means is that all those students whose name is listed, plus one who isn't, in fact had a 3.75 grade point average in that department and took a certain sequence of courses. And that's a great achievement, and it will be recorded on their diploma, in their permanent record, I should say, that they graduated with honors in each of those areas where you see their name listed. One young man who had straight A's in Spanish, and I'm not sure how we forgot to get his name on there, but a young man by the name of Matt Ferris should be included under graduating with honors in Spanish. Matt, would you stand up, please? And would all of those students who are graduating with honors, 3.75 in that specific department, please stand and recognize them with me, please.
There you are. Stand up. All over that.
Another thing that we do at Lake Washington High School is to have each one of the departments select the outstanding senior in that department. It's elected by our faculty members who work in that department. They have to select one student, and then we recognize them at commencement and call them up here and present them with a medal. And as you can tell, their list keeps getting smaller and smaller. This would be the outstanding student in each one of the departments. I'd like to introduce you to Kathy Tarter, who is the outstanding student in art. Kathy? We may have surprised her. I do want you to come up. This is a great honor, Kathy, and we want to congratulate you in an appropriate way. Congratulations. The outstanding student in business education is Carla Tate. Carla, would you come up? The outstanding student in instrumental music is Mike Kleiss. Mike? We also give an outstanding choral award. As at least our seniors know, we just simply couldn't give it to one person this year. We make that exception very, very seldom, but tonight we want to honor Johanna Tuneman and Angelica Espinoza. The departmental honor for distributive education goes to Troy Coleman. Troy? In home and family, Kirsten Crocker. Kirsten? The student in Industrial Honors selected is Mike Betzold. Mike. The outstanding student in mathematics is Steve Bard. Steve? In physical education, we give both a male and female award. For girls this year in physical education is Krista Edwards, and boys is John O'Neill. The outstanding student selected in science is Dan Fye. Dan? The outstanding student in French is Kim Biss. Kim? And the outstanding student in English is Kim Biss. And the outstanding student in social studies is Kim Biss. I'll give you a hug. Also, we've added a new item on our program this year. That is to introduce you to those seniors who at the end of 7 semesters had a perfect 4.0 average. And that's a tremendous accomplishment. And as you can imagine, with school closing so late, I can't tell you what the final grade point averages are, but I can tell you what they are at the end of 7 semesters. Straight 4-point students. I'd ask them to stand and ask you to recognize them with me. Scott Anderson. Brian Cropper. Dan Fye. Monique Gamache. Sandra Hill. And Denny Wilson. I'm sure you agree with me that that's a major accomplishment. Thank you.
That I do believe I love you.
different feeling about Lake Washington, not one I decided whether or not I wanted to experience, but one in which I just experienced when I first walked in the door as a scared junior till when I left a proud senior. Being a minority at Lake Washington, it's very different, and it adds to being scared. It also adds to the feeling. I wondered if I was going to be accepted, if people would like me. Because I never really had the opportunity to interact with people other than my own, I listened to and believed what I heard. Whites are whites, blacks are black, and they didn't mix. I only saw black, and I only saw white, and who's to say that Lake Washington would be any different? I knew it would be a black and white situation, so I came prepared to fight. I took on the attitude that I was better than anyone, than they are, and I was prepared for whatever came my way. And when I walked in the door, that's when I felt it, the unity, concern, and love. I remember being scared, but it didn't last long. It was like coming home. Students and teachers both, they came up to me and they asked me, "Are you lost? Can I help you? Would you like me to show you around?" People who today are some of my closest friends. Initially, it was easy for me to rationalize the warm feeling that I felt. I thought it wouldn't last through the week. Well, not only did it last that week, but it lasted the entire time I attended Lake Washington. Every day I could look forward to meeting someone new or becoming better acquainted with the people I already knew. Not only was I given the opportunity to get to know my fellow student body, but the faculty as well. Each teacher added a little more. All the teachers, counselors, administrators, custodians, and cooks always had a smile, even though sometimes I was being reprimanded. I just had to keep in mind that it was for my own good. Ordinarily, the teachers are supposed to be the bad guys and always wrong, but it was different at Lake Washington. Every teacher that I came to know had his or her own style and own way of showing me that they cared. Some kept me after class and worked with me until I was able to catch on. Sound familiar, Mrs. Johnson? Others gave me extra work or practice sheets to build on and add to the foundation of knowledge I already established. Each teacher was willing to go that extra mile and make me want to endure and want to work at becoming better. And the same holds true for the students. They're there as peer tutors, natural helpers, and best of all, friends. I remember thinking, no one is this nice. There must be a catch. I thought no one would take the time to get to know me and let me be myself. I was wrong. Not once did I have to try and hide who I am. Instead, I found a lot of kids wanting the same things I do. To feel, to care, and to share, no matter who you are, where you came from, or what your skin color was. We all learned together how to interact with each other, not to judge on the surface, but what's inside, and to see each other as individuals and not as preppies, rockers, wavers, and those of us that didn't have categories. We learned not to stereotype, but to see the gray in between. This is what the feeling of Lake Washington is all about. I came to this school anticipating the worst, seeing only black and white. I thought I was, along with Cheryl, Raquel, Siri, and all of the other minority students, going to band together and rule the school. We'd be in control, you know, that big intimidation game. Don't mess with us, we won't mess with you. Instead, the Lake Washington family would not allow that to happen. They didn't pass judgment. They did not categorize and assume that the typical stereotypes held true. Excuse me. They allowed me to be myself, and they were patient until I was comfortable enough to be myself. They cared about me just because, and I became a part of their family. My concerns were now our concerns. They assisted me when I was scared and felt alone, and helped me to adjust to my new surroundings. This is what the feeling is all about, knowing that your family is there for you, knowing that you belong, feeling that you belong and are welcome as much as the next person to the family, which is Lake Washington. Thank you.
There are many times in life when decisions are made that there isn't any turning back from. When we were born, our fathers brought us home from the hospital, but there wasn't going to be any turning back from the financial burden he was going to have to bear since we came into the world. Then we grew and came of age to start to go to school. Our mothers took us to the first day of kindergarten. We knew that this was another no turning back situation. We just couldn't learn from Sesame Street anymore. In elementary school, we got to know each other in each of our classrooms with our one teacher. The unification of our classes came from each of these classrooms. From each of these classrooms, we were then cast into junior high. Again, we realized that this was another no turning back situation. We weren't a class with one teacher. We were the class of 1986. From now on, we would have to scurry to each of our classes that we needed to attend in order to graduate. We'd always be known as the class of 1986. As I remember, at pep assemblies, the nasty ninth graders would always win the yell contest. And we'd sit there and struggle to figure out what year it was that we were actually going to graduate. But what did that mean? They were just a bunch of numbers distinguishing when we wouldn't have to come back to school and put up with the pressures and the excitement of wondering if the clothes that we had bought with our mom were going to be the ones that were in style, or would they make us look like our mom had actually dressed us? Were people going to wear flared or straight leg pants this year? Nobody ever knew. So, 1986 looked so far away. It seemed like it would never come. We were then again thrust into another no turning back situation. This was high school, namely Lake Washington High School. As sophomores, we learned the way of Lake Washington. Most of us either found out or heard by word of mouth that one of the great traditions of Lake Washington High School was to never step on the seal. We realized this because it was mostly the cleanest part of the whole student center. That year, we also learned how to become family-like as we mourned with our senior class over the loss of their president. As juniors, we worked side by side, both physically and academically. We worked hard to live out our decision for the classes that we had decided to take. We spent hours on end working on our homecoming float. And all the work did pay off. We did win the float contest, but we lost the homecoming competition only by a few points. We again endeavored into another thing that we could get glory from. We worked hard to prove to the whole United States that Lake Washington was one of the best schools in the nation. We knew L-Dub was number one, and soon the whole United States found that out. Time and time again, we were honored with being called one of the best high schools in America. The awards and feelings of accomplishments drew us even closer together. Our senior year, we knew what to do. We were top dog. Top
of the heat and cream of the crop. Oh, how sweet it has been. We have to move on now. All the college and scholarship applications have been filled out. The decisions have been made. We're on our way. Out into the real world. There will be no turning back. No more can we come to the first day of school and see all the old familiar faces. We won't be all together after tonight. The real world is out there, waiting for us to be their followers and leaders. Thank you, Lake Washington. Thank you, parents and teachers. Goodbye, my classmates, friends, and companions. There's no turning back. No turning back. We can do it. Thank you.
Never found anyone to fulfill my needs.
As I said earlier this evening, this is a very, very special and unusual class. And one of their many talents, of course, is the music. And I'm not sure Christina would want me to tell you this, but I'm going to anyway. She's had bronchitis all week, including tonight, and is under doctor's care and was sure she couldn't sing tonight. But she did a great job, didn't she? Every time she'd see me, she says, I can't do it, I can't do it, I can't do it. It's my great pleasure at this point in the program to start to wrap up the evenings, the reason we're here this evening. One of the things I enjoy about being a principal is the fact that you can take certain liberties. And one of the liberties I'd like to take tonight, that this is a special evening for many families and many students who are graduating. We also have one young man who, in a sense, is graduating. He's been with us since 1960, is retiring this year. I'd ask you all to recognize with me Lee Higgins. Lee, would you stand, please?
Another very special occasion this evening. I'd like these two students to stand for a minute and just let them talk about them for a second. With Linda and Sean Hewlett, stand, please. Linda and Sean. I'm going to have to say Shane. Linda and Shane Hewlett. What you need, stay up a second. What you need to know is, here's what we can figure back. We've had a Yulee in our school, Lake Washington High School, since 1951. What you also need to know is, that's 35 years. These are the last two, unless some of the Yulees move back into our attendance area. There are some here at Juanita that I know go to school here. But what a treat to have the same family for essentially every single year for 35 years. These are the last two until we get the kids back. Someone talked to me about that fact. They said, you know, Chuck, we keep hearing that there were some before 51, but we couldn't look and couldn't find them before 51. Another very special treat this evening. It gives me great pleasure on behalf of the Lake Washington School District and the Lake Washington High School, after 17 years, to call to the stage Joanna O'Donnell, present her with her diploma in recognition of her achievement while a student at Lake Washington High School. Congratulations, Joanna. Would you come forward, please?
And now, on behalf of the Lake Washington High School staff, I present to you the class of 1986 and certify that those who are qualifying have met the requirements as established by the Lake Washington School District number 414 and the state of Washington. To all of you, we congratulate you.
Raquel Tresvant, Amy Trusello, Michael Patrick Scanlon, Jeffrey Wayne Peterson, Tammy Marie Bendix, Amy Ann Fair, Ryan Parker McConnell, Michael Scott Peacock, Lisa Renee Archer, Brenda K. Ewer, Brian William French, Mr. Kurt E. Lundquist, Raphael Victor Darwish, Kirsten Michelle Camp, Robert Bendixson, Bart Thomas Keener, Thomas John Altenberger II, Shelley D. Brown, Leslie Howard Adams, Shane Thomas Kellogg, Timothy Glenn Dickerson, Erica Ann Aspen, Mandy M. Crowley, Paul A. Hollabon, Brian Allen Tuck, Heidi Anderson, Mary Patricia Cuff, Marilyn A. Kuiper, Matt A. Borselli, Randy Davis Rantella, Peggy Marie Flynn, Donna K. Rantella, Torben Crowley, William R. Bowles, Lisa Marie Galvin, Michael Dwayne Kleiss, Jeffrey David Hutt, Shelley Christine Mix, Chanel Marie Hall, Daryl L. Cox, Todd V. Long, Dacre Ann Smilanich, Jill Louise Hudson, James Francis Healy, Joel O'Neill, Teresa Lynn Torrance, Christine Lynn Meyer, Todd Anthony Hill, Stephanie D. Bard, Shelley Jean Moe, Janet Lynn Kearns, Douglas Wilson Black, Professor Robert Allen Grosscut, Tara Lee Larson, Marianne Elizabeth Moran, Kyle Adam Baird, Michael Ray Gardner, Gretchen Quennabelle Ann Gerke, Michelle Lillian Medina, Bob Stelton, Vincent Mary Foster, Gia Marie Gollings, Deanna L. Matheson, Ronald Guy Weiscaver, Tim W. Fay, Kathleen Mary Gibson, Christina Marie Hook, Stephen John Planky, Jeffrey John Crow, Debbie Garrettson, Robin Elizabeth Henzig, John F. Peterson, Douglas Allen Blair, Jennifer Anderson, Joanne A. Gentry, Miriam Megji, Vanessa Jane Smith, Paul Martin Berselli, Jeffrey Howard Preby, Barbara Jan Morgan, Anita Marie Banks, Rocky R. Hansen, Troy William Agerbeck, Amy Roop Siltonen, Sandra Ann Brooke, Richard A. Little, Mark Andrew Schumacher, Aaron Lee Van Fossen, Tracy Christina Daniels, Michael G. McKay, Jamie Staton Jr., Leah Elaine Bean, Christine Marie Engelke, Michael James McNabb, Mark Olson, Kelly Renee Haskins, Rochelle Kimberly G., John Eric O'Neill, Andrew R. Sessler, Tanya Ann Fletcher, Simone Janine Rausch, Athena Maria Mangoris, Mary Samantha Burwell, J. Patrick Mannon, Lee Gregory Contreras, Holly Lynn Templeton, Cecilia Marie Murtaugh, David Alex Madison, Clyde Albert Carpenter II, Kimberly Ann Silberstein, Kristen Joan Hoge, Michael D. Kennedy, Alexander D. Batchelder, Sherry Marie Sorella, Karen Ann Wallace, Jason Earl Horning, Felix Richard Bennell, Michelle Elaine Russell, Patrick Andrew Thompson, Kenneth John Hedges, John Robert Dooley, Siri Joanne Rudholm, Wendy Jane Stackestead, Sean Patrick Hagen, Eric Richard Wright, Wendy Christine Rooser, Megan Louise Sharp, Kelly Susan Turple, Sherry Lynn Myers, Alistair McCallum Toppin, Michael Tom Watson Jr., Lisa Michelle Hall, Cara Diane Meileberg, Scott Mitchell McQuarrie, David James Stevens, Darcy F. Klausnitzer, Susan Marie Nordland, John Norton, Brett Allen Suddert, Kimberly Lynn Grisham, Wendy Suzanne Pez, Neil A. Randall, Kirk Edward Thompson, Patricia Carolyn Kent, Lisa Lynn Schwint, Brian E. Smith, Thomas Mark Walker, John Anthony Steele, Tony Lee Schaefer, Tina M. Powers, Douglas H. Watling, Janelle Elizabeth Cordy,
I switch? One more time.
Tamara Marie Duke, Monica Wilhite, Anthony Lamont Griffin, Michael Lee Cloyd, Courtney Lynette Hardwick, Paulette Elizabeth Allison, Brian L. Gardner, Anthony Popek, Charlene Gates, Paula Louise Nelson, Donald Scott Dixon, Aaron James Sheldman, Julie E. Deno, Cynthia L. Johnston, Mr. Stephen Douglas DeGarmo I, Brian C. Rimmer. Carrie Ann Starkson. Tina M. Dotson-Ramage. Paul Scott Alexander. Lance Watts. William James Keogh. Brett Allen Podner. Lynn Denise Arima. Ruth Ann Warner. Tiffany Lee Janis. Darcy Lynn Porter. Dr. Michael C. Jenkins. Scott Galen Perry II. Laurel Ann Green. Lisa Renee Shadig. Keith Matthew Kane. Mr. Derek Carl Chartrand I. Amy Elizabeth Haddock. Mary Lee Robin Schultz. Robert County Lee. Stephen Edward Rich. Angela Louise Mitch. Deborah Marie Stevens. Robert Powell Liggett. Hans Edward Rasta. Nicole Louise Moisen. Kathy M. Tarter. Ali Reza Moniksheri. Carlton Eric Shipper. Janelle Lynn Moss. Carlene Ellen Waltz. Joseph C. Mateer. Scott Thomas Serber. Donna C. Pimentel. Christina Lynn Staub.
Feldmar. Mary Elizabeth Dunn. Thomas Lee. Brett Aaron Hoover. Michelle Lynn Fauerbach. Susanna E. Chow. Kevin Allen Kunka. Gregory Scott Hill. Lynn M. Doty. Beth Ann Cavalier. Paul Richard Ferry. Jeffrey Carl Hupel. Audra Elaine Brown. Patricia Lynn Almond. John Craig Fluke. John J. Doherty. Tracy Eileen Cipher. Twit Ann Hune. Dane Andrew Eganis. Andy Walter Deeby. Anne Marie D. Cruz. Tony Ann Winroth. Michael Allen Padilla. Michael Sean Davies. Roseanne Marie Sabina. Lisa M. Tujikawa. Janet Lee Gray. Shelley LaRae Peterson. Michael James Luther. Greg Anthony Whites. Kelly M. Holmes. Mary Ann Puckett. Tony Louise Ingle. Gregory David White. William J. Patterson. Jacqueline Samuels. Kimberly Ann Buchholz. Andy Wayham. Jeffrey John Reynolds. Jerry Lynn Smith. Lori Ann Kinney. Peter Joachim Backman. Joseph Gerard Ward III. Denise Angela Sinnott. April Dawn McKee. Darren Donald Basinger. Ethan A.T.N. Abram DuPont Westgate. Karen K. Thompson. Jennifer Noli Doors. Michael A. Kahn. Tracy Diane Prisoner.
What are you doing, Ethan? Hello!
Lisa Marie Brating. Colette Suzanne Lescance.
Jeanette Audrey Taylor.
Karen Davies.
Matthew Briggs Hubbard.
Paul Darrell Stavig.
Dae-Hyun A. Lynn Reimer.
Rana Rochelle McHugh.
Eric Jarvis Eccles.
Miles Ali Loa Sharoma.
Nina Jo Kersey.
Tammy Ann Flynn.
Mr. David Gary Walker.
Michael Maddock.
Kimberly Jo Ballard.
Carrie Lynn Evans.
David J. Erickson.
Robert Lawrence Gerald.
Amy Delight Mesh.
Julie Lynn Guptill.
Ba Robert T. Fahn.
Eric Gordon Petter.
Devika Wickerama.
Tanya Faye Enders.
Jeffrey Scott Adams.
Pamela Lee Love.
Judith Denise Elam.
Jeffrey Tim Weibel.
Carla Jo Tate.
Geraldine Renee Othick.
Robert Michael Lorraine.
John Douglas Willard.
Siri Porn Youngpi San Pope.
Susan Jean Pitt.
James T. Lubin.
Shane Corey Yulee.
Crystal Ann Flegg.
Jennifer Ann Segara.
Mr. Brett Morgan Menier.
Andrew Daniel Dalzo.
Kimberly Louise Clough.
Rhonda Lynn Schultz.
Bruce Morrissey.
Patrick Stephen Halverson.
Alma S. Diaz Gonzalez.
Janet Arlene Story.
Brian W. Dutt.
Michael Roy Jones Jr.
Kathy Lynn Lucart.
Rachel Ann Mosbaugh.
Kevin Richard Carroll. Stacy Ray Fox.
Kimberly Jones Smith.
Cheryl Ann Herman.
John Dennis Lux Jr.
Lord Allen David Cabalas.
Julie Christine Plimpton.
Paula Gerard Clegg.
Michael Edward Gehring.
Mr. Pekka I. Rahikala.
Carrie Ann Murphy.
Deborah K. Nyhart.
Morgan Gallagher.
Scott Michael Anderson.
Nikki Lynn McClure.
Lisa Ann Lehman.
William Jude Erstrom.
Eric Wing Lombard.
Carista Dawn Edwards.
Heather Catherine Jewett.
Michael A. Betzel.
Paul Kristen Woodcock.
Renee Catherine Shervey.
Robin Lynn Rich.
William Christopher Wilson.
Ethan Allen Benson.
Linda K. Marshall.
Lisa Marie Reed.
Deanne Irene Stiltman.
Michelle Leah Clark.
Sean Kenneth Howe.
Brendan Brian Reeves.
Paige Antoinette Tucker.
Kirsten Suzanne Crocker.
David Edward Pruitt.
Sunny Delwayne Winston.
Michelle Renee Vaishville.
Tracy Lee Gavin.
Robert James Kinsey.
Mark W. Wolf.
Lisa Marie Watson.
Elizabeth Lynn McDaniel.
Michael Gerald Aceto.
Julius Raham.
Wendy Dawn Kiefert.
Amy Louise Orr.
William Thomas Wright.
Michael Follett Norman.
Anne Elizabeth Stevens.
Beth Ann Tony.
Sean Reed Wilson.
Troy Patrick Coleman.
Jennifer Eileen Mason.
Kirsten Suzanne Heimdahl.
Sandra Marie Hill.
Angelique Renee Espinoza.
Scott William Schutze.
Stephen Tyler the Man Skinnendor.
Teresa Renee Gustafson.
Johanna Rachel Tuneman.
Sean Colin Martin.
Philip Thomas Briggs.
Jennifer Pasco.
Christina Marielle Poppy.
Brian Dale Cropper.
Sir Jacob Daniel Bergevin the Only.
Denny Lynn Wilson.
Lori Lynn Reed.
Brian Anthony Zick.
Scott Edward Meek.
Angela Marie Rice.
Deborah Celeste Thurston.
Kenneth Kirk Vaishville.
James Matthew Ferris.
Christine Jennifer Israelson.
Holly Jolene Benson.
St. Michael W. Fisher.
Tracy Lynn Wentz.
Sonia Marie Heiberg.
Daniel David Bai.
Mary Burdell Smith.
Marcy Deanne Lanham.
Dale Edward Cobra Anderson.
David Irving Jensen.
Stephanie Lynn Hargrave.
Kimberly Michelle Biss.
Christian Martin Everts.
Ronald Charles Shelby.
Vicki Lynn Wilmont.
Monique Adrian Gamache.
Daniel Glenn Morrisburg.
Keldon Vernon Rush.
Erin Marie McGrew.
Christine Teresa Bennett.
Scott Adam Patrick.
James William Fry.
Linda Ray Yulee.
Lisa Annette Parrott.
Anthony Joseph Evans.
Wait a minute. There's that one.
Angela Lynn Cronauer. Stephen Philip Bard.
Make sure you walk when it says your name.
Amy Catherine Carbaugh.
Shilpa Pushpakant Patel. Kimberly Jo Davis.
Kenneth G. Zick. Sean Paul Cunningham.
When I say thank you to the teachers and the staff members of Lake Washington for doing such a great job making the past few years such a special learning experience. I'd like to extend a special thank you to you for being there when you were needed and for making this all possible. We couldn't have made it without you. My greatest hope for this evening is that you're off on our way with the realization that dreams take up a major part of everyone's lives, and it is the pursuit of dreams with the help of family and friends which give life its true meaning. Tonight, the individuals at Conrad, graduates, are stepping out upon a new road in pursuit of their own dream while attending college, traveling, or whatever else they might intend to do. Therefore, my following remarks straight to them.
Graduates, I'd like you to take a silent second and think and organize the hundreds of feelings and emotions that are running through you right now. I know that we've got some out there who are crying and some are just elated and excited. But the single phrase which seems to be run through everyone's mind right now is, hey, we finally made it. I don't believe it. But however you feel at this moment, it's true. We've taken that first step towards a bigger and brighter future. And now it's time to say goodbye to a very special school, some very special teachers, and a lot of very special friends. But each one of us, as we step back and look around, sees a different future ahead. We each are about to embark on a special voyage in pursuit of our own personal lifelong dreams, whether it be to become a famous surgeon, an airplane pilot, a teacher, a politician, or a minister. Each of these areas entails taking on a lot more work and relying more and more upon friends and family for that physical, moral, and sometimes very monetary support that's needed when times get tough. But two things above all else which we need to keep in mind are that in order to accomplish these dreams, we need to remember two qualities. And these qualities are courage and persistence. We shouldn't be like an ocean liner who, if it can think and feel, would never leave its dock, fearing the thousands of huge waves it would encounter. Unfortunately, the ocean liner would fear all of its dangers at once, not realizing that it had to meet them only one wave at a time. Keep this example in mind. Many times you may feel that you're being suffocated by all the trials being placed upon you, by the people around. It's at that time that family and friends will mean the most, being your life vest in the stormy sea of life. My advice to you is, if you have a dream, any type at all, go for it. Don't worry about failure. Your family and friends will be there during the times that they're most needed to help you pick up the pieces and start again. Don't show up at the 10-year reunion wondering what would have been like if only. Reach for those dreams now. Go for it. this is as good a time as any. And to the parents and relatives out there, I'd like to say that even though the dreams that are foremost in the minds of those tonight are the graduates, we should not forget that you still have dreams of your own to see, culminate, and come true. For some, seeing your child receive a diploma tonight became a dream come true. For others, it was the impossible dream. Through all the trials, I hope that you'll continue to remember the immortal words of Robert Kennedy, who said, "Many people dream the impossible and say, I wish I could. I dream the impossible and say, why not?" Good luck, graduates, and thanks again, parents.
High school has been a means to an end, and now the end has come. We may be unsure of where we are going, but we know where we are from. We are from Lake Washington High School. Now high school, for us, is dead. But we aren't experiencing a death. We're experiencing a birth instead. We're experiencing our commencement. Now we will see what life really means. We'll try out our ideals and we'll test drive our dreams. Now we will know of what we are made, and finally we'll be able to give ourselves our own grade. We are all thankful to the people who have taught, helped, and nurtured us. But the only true teacher is experience. And through experience, we are all teachers. And what we teach is what we need to learn. And so, we teach it over and over again until we learn it. All you can do is to give us your love, support, and understanding as we are learning. What we can do is to try to honor ourselves, to honor the truth, and to honor those that we love. Ultimately, we must all try to learn the lessons that life teaches us. The learning doesn't stop here. It's just beginning.
It's been a pleasure filming the school's 1986 commencement. We at Video Professionals also specialize in family video recording, and we're looking forward to serving you in the future. If you have a special event coming up, such as a wedding, anniversary party, or family reunion, please give us a call today. We'd like to make that special event part of your personal video library.